Okay. Welcome to today's class. I very warmly welcome to my Zoom audience, my colleague, and my Facebook audience. Uh, and today, first session, we will continue our episode number 12, session number 12 of our online course, which we started on Introduction to Advanced Listening Skill. And the main purpose is uh, to enhance our listening skill, which we never been able to flourish, upgrade in our school life, in our university, or even our work life as well. So we need to learn how to listen properly on a highest humanistic approach. That's we are targeting, and every week we do different topics in the listening capacity and we started from character and communication. How does it impact on listening? Then empathic listening. Then we did autobiographical responses while we are listening. Then we did the blending the voice from the eighth habit. Then we did talk about the Indian talking stick. Then we did talk about the synergy, how the listening impact in the process of synergy between human beings. Then we talked about the street hawkers uh, and how the listening created impact on street of the street hawkers' life in South Africa. And then from last 4 weeks, we have started a sub series within our course that if I need to know what level of listener I am, if I need to know that what the quality of listener I am, so how I can know, how I can judge myself, how I can assess myself. So that series we started 4 weeks ago with the title How You Become Listener You Are. And last 3 weeks before we talk about how the childhood impact on your listening level you are right now, how we listen through different filters, how the socialization process impact to make you a listener what you are. And the last time we learned actually about how we how the school actually did impact on my life to become the listener I am. Today we will continue the same sub series, and that we will particularly highlight the idea and the understanding of self knowledge in the listening. And what does it mean by self knowledge? That how I see myself, how I am self aware, how what type of information and knowledge I have about myself, about my blind spots, about my strength, about my character, about my knowledge of self, about me. That also impact to make me a good or bad listener. Is quite interesting, isn't it? So usually we think that the listening is the function of my ears, like I'm listening and I'm attentive listener, and I have to little bit focus and that's it. No, it is more complex, and it is more important that I need to know about myself. So it's called self knowledge, knowledge about self, and how it impact that we are going to learn. So my session and readings will take usually 15 minutes while we will explain. So before I go into the session, I want to tell you this listening course will continue for next couple of weeks and month as well. And from next week, I am starting a new sub series in this course where we will discuss about the barrier between listener and the speaker, and that barrier um, are existing everywhere in every relationship, whether I'm a husband, whether I'm a partner, whether I'm a friend, whether I'm a colleague or boss or a parent or child, any relation, that barrier is always there. So we specifically in coming weeks discuss every time, every week, specific topic. The barrier between listener and the speaker. So it's very straightforward, very practical uh, learning for us. And also, I will add some uh, homework as well, some exercise as well, so that we can practice in our private time as well. It does it sound interesting for you? I believe so. It will be interesting and very learnful for me as well. So, uh, so let's start. Our most of the learning I have taken from this legend book, "Listening: The Forgotten Skill" by Madeline Burley Allen. She is the great leadership trainer as well, and of course, this book is quite old as well. I think it's 30, 40 years old. She wrote. So imagine that. That the content in the book still relevant, and of course it may have improved a lot according to our today's um, a digital age where we have lot of data available which was never before. So if the data would be available today more, it means we can find lot of research question and their answer as well. But Madeline Burley Allen, she actually found the listening and related numeric data, qualitative data or quantitative data 40, 50 years ago, and then she wrote the book on this very complex and very difficult topic. And but we are lucky that we are learning this important and very crucial uh, crucial learning from this. So it will help myself for personal development. It will have better relationship with my spouse. It will help me to better at my workplace. It will help me to enhance my business productivity as well, when I will be more keen to focus to listen my customer, to listen my coworker, to listen my suppliers, and lot of other things. So listening is everywhere. As far as you are awakened and you are consciously not sleeping, it means you are listening to the world, to the people. So that's why we will uh, cover this area of self knowledge. How does it sounds? So let's start our today's reading, and we will. It's a quick three paragraph reading, but we will have lot of things to take home. So um, before we start reading, it's very straightforward and according to common sense that, for example, let me find a round shape in my. Okay, just imagine I have this calculator. If you can see, I don't know whether you can see me or not. Yeah, so that's a calculator. Yeah. Now, as a observer, I can see only front of the calculator, right? But there are many areas which I cannot see, like I cannot see its sides, I cannot see its back, and even I cannot see within the calculator what is enough. So it it exactly lie on the same person, or the talker or the speaker when we are in a conversation. When we are speaking with someone or we are speaking someone with someone, then we only see that person form, human body, lifestyle level, some uh, some accent variation, and some quality of selection of some words, isn't it? And we only listen or we respond or other person respond me only based on these seen things. We do not know about that person other hidden things, other closed things which is not in front of me. Exactly the same thing happens with me as a listener. When I'm listening someone, there are many hidden things within me which I cannot see myself, but my speaker can listen to, can see it me, can judge these things in me, which we are not aware about. However, if we know that what we don't know within me, then that will make me a poor listener. But if I know that I have a good, adequate, and correct knowledge about myself, and then I will talking with someone or I'm listening with someone, that will make me a good listener or ideal listener, because I will know that what other person is seeing within me, and I know them as well. So it is a little tricky thing, and that impact on our listening quality or listening level, which I am right now. Is that sound interesting? So let's read our text and see what the Madeline, the author of this book, she is trying to say. And I would ask you that you need to ask question as well, if or you want to explain something, if you learn something new or you want to apply in your life, or you have more good explanation about the fact which I'm describing here. So are you ready to start our today's learning, today's reading? So I would ask my colleague Jenny if she can start reading it.
Self knowledge. Self knowledge is an important ingredient for increasing the ability to communicate and interact effectively with others. The following analogy, illustrated by figure 2.4, is one way to look at the self knowledge process. If you look at a globe as you stand in front of it, you can see part of it. If you divide the part, you can see in half. One half represents the part of ourselves we are conscious of. These are aspects of our listening behavior we can identify and recognize. Since we are open to these behaviors and they are useful, we can pat ourselves on the back and say a job well done. On the other hand, if we don't like them and the results aren't what we want, we can reshape them.
Yeah, that's very self-explanatory. If you see that image, that this globe is open and some of the portion is closed. On the back of this open globe, on the behind, we are blind to see it. And the things which are hidden, these are closed on me. So I can't see it. So thing is that if I can identify and recognize that blind and closed or hidden things, that will make impact on the level of listener I am, and also I will judge the behavior as well. So let's continue to read further, and I would ask Mike if you can read it.
The other half of the globe is the portion of ourselves we keep hidden. For instance, some people keep a worthy idea hidden from their managers because the managers might steal their ideas and take credit for them. Other people keep their feelings hidden because they have been belittled. One woman said, I've stopped talking about how I feel about things to my boss because I was told you shouldn't feel that way and don't make mountains out of molehills. The portions of the globe you cannot see are the blind and closed areas. The blind area hides sides of ourselves that we took a peek at and didn't like, therefore fooling us into thinking that the behavior wasn't really important enough to change. It can also include our characteristics that we don't like. Consequently, we project the same qualities onto others that we deny in ourselves. Others know about these characteristics and would be happy to tell us about them if we asked. For one reason or another, we are blind to certain sides of ourselves, and our behavior often gets us into trouble in our relationships with others.
Thank you. It's a great reading. So, if you see that how we project the same quality upon other which we deny in ourselves. For example, it's very common sense that if let's say I feel that the other person is lie, and I'm trying to project the lie impact or dimension on other, whereas possibly I'm a liar. I'm I'm lying for someone, but I pretend that the other person is lying. That is a human psychology as well, in a normal circumstances as well, because there are so many things which unconsciously we are not aware, and we see these bad things in other and sometimes good things in other as well. For example, if I like someone, it does, or some like I like some other person quality or something, it does mean that I like this thing as in myself as well. But sometime if I see bad things in other, it does mean also sometime for some people that I am free from them and it is only within them. But they don't know actually their bad things which you are saying, actually it lies inside you, not on other. You are just projecting your bad qualities in other, and you think that the other is wrong and I'm right. And that is a human behavior, uh, turns the discussion or conversation sometimes very complicated, especially between husband and wife. When they talk with each other, the husband sometimes blame the wife for having certain weaknesses or negative things, whereas the reality is these negative things are actually already exist in husband, and husband actually can't see that things within me because of the blind spot, and that he sees these blind spot in other person as a projection. And when the other person like wife, she try to see, no, it is you, you are uh, judging me wrong. So husband say, no, it is you. And that make quite complicated and tricky as well, because of that lack of self knowledge about my personality, my character. I project these bad quality on other, and that become a core, uh, a tense relationship start, and we do blame games as well. So actually, in a blame game, we it happens like that, that we tend to project other person uh, those things which either we deny in ourselves, or either we don't want to accept within ourselves due to our ego as well. And that made us a level of listener I am. So listening is not only listening. Listening is actually very deep, a reflection of your own self. That's why the empathic listening is very difficult. Like not everyone can be a good listener, no matter how they claim that or they are the super good listener. Even we are talking with some children, and we are not a good listener to that even with the children, because we try to project children as, and we blame on children for their wrongdoings. However, the problem lies within my paradigm, that I'm treating or I'm perceiving my child that act as his or her weakness, rather than it was actually only of my projection of my paradigm upon my child. um, and that's we become very poor parent, a dad or mom. So that's why it's very important that we, when we are dealing with our children or dealing with our husband or wife, we must know where we stand, what are our good or bad qualities or features are, so that I know that when other person is pointing something, or other person is, or I'm projecting these things on other, I know that this is not about him or her, actually it is my reflection, and I admit that thing. So that is a psychological dimension for this. And otherwise, um, like in this text, the Madeline, the author of the book, she mentioned that some people, some employee, or even husband wife, they try to hide some secret from each other as well. Why? Because other people start to belittle like it, or they can misuse that, or the other person uh, can know this weakness, or later on they do blackmailing or emotional blackmailing the other person. So some people tend not to disclose their feelings to other because of very reason. And that's it. Because so the ideally what should have been done, that I need to be self knowledge and I need to be fully self aware about my things. And then when I'm talking with my client, when I'm talking with my wife, my spouse, my partner, my children, my parent, uh, or if I'm in social rank, like I'm a leader of parliament or leader in opposition, or we are in school, or we are in office environment, or whatever, that make us the complete awareness about me. And that is very important, uh, because that's a human psychology as well, that we see in other what we want to see, rather than what is going on or what is as it is. We don't see what as it is, but what we see, what we hear, what we uh, watch, what we observe is mostly is the reflection of my perception about the other person or environment. And that's why we say often right and wrong, this type of thing. We say you are right, you are wrong, I'm right. Why? Because of this human psychology which we just discussed. It's quite interesting. um, so anybody wants to have any comment or question? Okay. Yeah. And that is the last thing about the close area. So let's see if yeah, if Vicky, you are able to read it, or otherwise Jenny can read it.
A closed area is when we have shut off from ourselves because we have found it too distasteful, painful, or scary. As a result, we haven't taken time to look at or explore it because of fear, lack of opportunity, or worry that we won't like what we find. Being able to identify the behavior mode you act from when you interact with individuals at work is a big step in being more effective. This type of analysis often results in broadening the open area of awareness and lessening the concealed area of consciousness. Reflection upon one's behavior is a useful tool to increase effectiveness in handling interpersonal relationships.
Excellent, amazing. It's a wonderful reading that is. So if you see that, that is again very easy to understand that we must be able to identify the behavior or the character what we have, or so that we can understand and become more effective listener, or even speaker as well. um, and mostly things which we don't like in other, actually, like in terms of psychology, they already exist in us, and just we project on other, um, and that impact on our interpersonal relationship. Uh, so that's it. That was our oh, okay, that is okay. Yeah, let's do a quick summary of that sub series which we started. How you got to be a listener. You are that. So I would ask Jenny if you can just read it quickly about know what we did learn from last 4 weeks. This is a very brief summary of that how you got to be a listener. You are.
Throughout this chapter, we talked about how our childhood experiences, the socialization process, influence how we listen as adults. As children, certain messages were expressed to us over and over again that shaped the way we formed our listening habits, habits that often result in our listening through filters of which we are not conscious. One way to become more conscious of your listening habits and to increase your listening efficiency is to practice regularly. One useful approach is listening to difficult or unfamiliar material that challenges your mental capacities, such as attending a lecture or a program on a subject of which you have little knowledge. Effective listening does take time and effort, but it is an easy way to acquire information and ideas you can use.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very precise and quick things, or the juice of the learning which we did in last 4 weeks about that very subtopic. So based on this, I think I made a quick homework for you. You can follow it, and that is another way to increase listening efficiency is to practice listening with your planned purpose. Following are the some situation you could plan in order to become aware of, evaluate, and then record your listening behavior. You can record on your journal or maybe on your diary manually, or so what you can do. There are 5 options you can do, or all, or two, or three, or four things you can do. Monthly planning sessions you can do. What does it mean? This session you can design, you can have with someone for just listening purpose. um, or you can also have some discussion with a difficult customer or co-worker you have. So if you find any co-worker, of course there are many colleagues and difficult people you come across when you are at work. So you deliberately make a meeting and just discuss with and try to understand him or her, or call to a difficult customer and listen what his or her complaint was about your product or service and why. That will help you to make a very good listener. Other, you can also arrange some training sessions, uh, some instruction, or weekly project reviews as well. Reviews about, so that you can also do something in your home when you are going to enhance your listening thing. So that's it for today. Anything, any comment, any question, any experience you want to share? I would welcome everyone. um, okay, so I think it's all crystal clear, and it's all self-explanatory as well. That's it. So that's our end of the first session, and next week we will continue to the next new series in the introduction to the advanced listening, and we will uh, discuss about what are the barriers between listener and the speaker in terms of perception, reception, and attention, and we will cover these things. So let me see if anybody is on the Facebook. Okay, there is Adele Mantis Leak Up. Hello, thank you for watching, and okay, so that's it. So we will take a 2 minute break, and then we will come back with another 20-minute session on the pain body. Actually, yeah, that's the um, second last week for this series of pain body. We will come. So just wait for 2 minutes and come back. We will come back. Thank you.
Recording stopped.